In sunny Meadow, three best friends loved to play. There was Gigi the Giraffe, so tall and grand, and Barnaby the Bear, so strong and kind. And there was Pip the Mouse, so tiny and quick. Their favorite game was playing with a big, bouncy red ball. Bounce, bounce, bounce it went. One day, Barnaby gave the ball a super strong whoosh. It flew higher and higher, right into the big oak tree, and got stuck. "Oh no," cried Pip. "Don't worry," said Gigi. "I have a long neck. It's my advantage." She stretched and stretched her neck as high as it could go. She could see the ball. It was peeking out of a little hole in the tree trunk. "I can see it," she said, "but my nose is too big to get it out." "Let me try," boomed Barnaby. "I am very strong. That's my advantage." He gave the tree a mighty shake. Wiggle, wiggle, shake. The leaves wiggled and the branches shook, but the big red ball didn't move one bit. "My strength isn't enough," he sighed, sitting down with a thump. Then little Pip squeaked, "I have an idea. I am very small. That's my advantage. Barnaby, can you lift me up to Gigi's nose?" Barnaby gently lifted Pip onto Gigi's long nose. Gigi lifted her head high, 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 right up to the hole. In scurried Pip. A moment later, pop! Out rolled the big red ball. Gigi's height, Barnaby's strength, and Pip's small size all worked together. "Hooray for advantages!" they all cheered. The sun shone brighter than ever in sunny Meadow. After their clever teamwork in the big oak tree, Gigi the Giraffe, Barnaby the Bear, and Pip the Mouse felt like the greatest team in the world. Their big, bouncy red ball seemed bouncier than ever before. Bounce, bounce, bounce it went on the soft green grass. They laughed and played, each one remembering how their special talent had helped save their favorite toy. Gigi's neck was not just for reaching tasty leaves. Barnaby's strength was not just for big bear hugs. And Pip's tiny size was not a weakness, but a superpower. They were playing near a new part of the meadow, a place where the grass sloped down towards the cheerful, gurgling sounds of Sunny Creek. The water in the creek was clear and cool, and it tumbled over smooth gray stones, making a happy, splashing song. "My turn," boomed Barnaby with a happy grin. He reared back on his big bare feet and gave the ball a gentle tap with his nose. But Barnaby was so strong that even a gentle tap was quite powerful. The red ball shot forward with a happy whoosh. It bounced once, twice, and then, instead of bouncing a third time, it began to roll. It rolled right past Gigi's long legs and Pip's scurrying feet. It rolled faster and faster down the grassy slope. "Stop, ball!" squeaked Pip, running after it as fast as his little legs could carry him. "Oh, be careful," called Gigi, trotting behind him, her long neck making her look like a flagpole bobbing along. But the ball would not stop. It rolled right to the edge of the creek bank, teetered for a moment, and then splash! It fell right into the bubbly, fast-flowing water. The three friends stood at the edge, their mouths wide open in surprise. The big red ball didn't sink. It bobbed on the surface like a red apple and immediately began to float away, carried by the quick current.
"Oh no, not again!" cried Barnaby, his happy face now full of worry. "The creek is taking it!" The ball danced on the water, spinning in little circles as the creek pulled it downstream. "Don't worry," chirped Pip, ever the quick thinker. "I am very fast. That's my advantage." He turned and zipped along the grassy bank, his tiny body a blur of gray fur. He kept his eyes on the ball, shouting back to his friends, "It's going this way! It's moving so fast!" Gigi and Barnaby hurried to follow. Gigi, with her long legs, took giant, graceful steps, and she used her amazing height to her advantage. "I can see far ahead," she called out, her voice calm and clear. "The creek gets wider, and I see lots of tangled weeds up ahead. We have to get the ball before it reaches the whispering weeds." They ran and ran, but soon they came to a problem. The grassy bank ended in a muddy patch, and the creek swirled around a big cluster of rocks. There was no way to keep following on their side. The ball, however, happily floated right past the rocks on its watery journey. Barnaby skidded to a stop. He looked around, his big brow wrinkled in thought. His eyes fell upon a thick, heavy log lying amongst the trees. It was old and covered in soft green moss. "I have an idea," he rumbled. "I am very strong. That's my advantage." He wrapped his big, powerful arms around the log. With a mighty grunt and a heave, he lifted it. His muscles bulged as he pushed the log over the narrowest part of the creek, from their side to the other. Thump! It landed perfectly, making a wobbly but useful bridge. "Hooray for Barnaby!" cheered Pip from across the gap where he had already managed to leap. Carefully, Gigi and Barnaby crossed the log bridge. They were on the other side, but the red ball was still floating away, getting closer and closer to the dark green patch of whispering weeds that Gigi had warned them about. They could see it now, bobbing just at the edge of a little swirling whirlpool. "I can reach it," Gigi said, her voice full of hope. "My long neck is my advantage." She stepped carefully to the edge of the water and stretched her neck out over the creek. Her nose was just inches from the ball. She tried to nudge it with her nose, but every time she got close, the swirling water would pull the ball just out of reach. "Oof, it's too slippery and the water is too strong," she said with a frustrated sigh, pulling her head back. The ball was trapped, spinning just beyond her grasp. They all sat down, feeling very discouraged. Their advantages had helped them get this far, but it seemed like they had met a problem they couldn't solve. The ball spun sadly in the little whirlpool. Then little Pip, who was staring intently at the water, squeaked. "I have another idea. We can't reach the ball from the land, so maybe we need to go on the water." Gigi and Barnaby looked at him. "Go on the water? But how?" asked Barnaby. Pip pointed a tiny claw at a huge, flat piece of bark that had peeled off a nearby sycamore tree. It was lying on the bank, almost shaped like a little boat. "We need a ship," he declared. "Barnaby, you are strong. Can you push the bark boat into the water?" Barnaby's eyes lit up. Of course!
He trotted over to the bark, and with a great shove, he slid it into the calm water near the edge of the creek. It floated perfectly. "But it will float away just like the ball did," said Gigi, her long face looking worried. "Not if you help," said Pip. "Gigi, your legs are so long. That's your advantage. Can you stand in the water and hold our boat steady with your foot?" Gigi nodded. She carefully stepped one long, slender leg into the cool creek. The water came up to her knee, but she stood firm. She placed her hoof gently against the side of the bark, holding it in place like a dock holds a boat. "Brilliant!" boomed Barnaby. "Now what, my little friend?" "Now," said Pip, puffing out his tiny chest, "I will be the captain. I am very small and very light. That is my advantage. I can ride the boat without sinking it." He scurried onto the bark, his little feet making no sound at all. He stood at the very front, looking like the bravest mouse captain in the whole world. Barnaby found a long, smooth branch and stood beside the boat. "And I," he said, "will be the engine." Gigi lifted her hoof, and the bark boat was free. Barnaby dipped the end of his long branch into the water behind the boat and gave a gentle push. The boat glided forward. Gigi, watching from her tall vantage point, gave directions. "A little to the left, Barnaby. You're doing great. Now a little push to the right." Slowly and carefully, Barnaby pulled the little raft out into the creek, pushing it closer and closer to the spinning red ball. Pip the captain held on tight, his whiskers twitching with excitement. As they reached the whirlpool, Pip leaned over and with all his might, he grabbed the wet, slippery ball. He hugged it tight and carefully pulled it onto the center of the bark boat with him. "I have it!" he squeaked in triumph. "Hooray! Hooray!" cheered Gigi from the shore. "Hooray!" rumbled Barnaby as he carefully pulled the raft back to the bank with his branch. Pip hopped off the bark, proudly rolling the soggy red ball onto the grass. It was safe. They had done it again. They fell into a happy pile on the grass, a tall giraffe, a big bear, and a tiny mouse. They were tired, they were a little wet, but they were the happiest three friends in all of Sunny Meadow. Gigi's height, Barnaby's strength, and Pip's small size, Gigi said softly, nudging her friends with her nose. They all worked together again. They knew then that no matter what challenge came their way, whether a ball stuck in a tree or lost in a creek, they could solve it. Because the best advantage of all wasn't being tall or strong or small. The best advantage of all was being together.